To the naked eye, all of these meals look exactly the same, but would you have guessed that these ones are 1,000 calories more than these ones? Difference is as simple as the chicken you put in your salad might be the sole reason why you're not losing fat. So in this video, I'll explain some simple swaps you can make to your diet to stick to your calories every day, smash your protein and shred a load of fat. So for breakfast, we have oats. Oats are a great breakfast option because they're a slow releasing carbohydrate and they've got decent fiber, which means you'll stay fuller for longer through the morning. They're also really easy to make in various combinations to stop you from getting bored. However, because you can make them fairly differently, that can significantly affect the calories. So for the exact same portion size of oats, simply swapping out full fat milk and banana for semi-skim milk and berries will save you about 130 calories. Now, this isn't to say that this is necessarily bad, but berries are naturally lower in calories and it's always good to go for the lower fat milk options. For lunch, we have two versions of a chicken salad. Now, just because we're on a fat loss diet, we don't have to eat salads every day, but it's important to balance your calories. And in this meal plan, we're eating slightly less at lunch so we can save more for the pasta we're going to eat later. Now, the chicken breast in this salad is 196 calories and the chicken thighs in this one is 342. So as you can see, simply swapping from thighs over to breast is an easy way to save some calories. Second of all, we need to talk about sauces. We can all agree that salad without sauce is terrible. However, what you pick is also important. This one has a drizzle of oil and full fat mayo, and this one has a light drizzle of the sriracha mayo. The difference in these two things alone is crazy. Per 100 milliliters, this normal mayo is 580 calories, whereas this one's only 280 calories, and arguably it tastes a lot better. So even if you're trying to be really good and eat salads, this one's 650 calories and this one's less than 300. So it goes to show if you're not careful with what you're using, even the healthiest of options can be higher than what you think. And for dinner, we have two portions of pasta. And before you kick off, you can easily balance pasta within your calorie deficit, and I'm going to tell you how. A simple way to start is by swapping 20% beef mince for turkey mince. The 200 grams of beef mince that I used in this pasta is 476 calories and only 36 grams of protein. And it's so high because every 100 grams of beef in here has 18 grams of fat. And for those of you that didn't know, every gram of fat is 9 calories, so you can see why it adds up. In comparison, for 250 grams of this turkey mince, which is a 50 grams bigger serving for the maths bods, is only 332 calories and 49 grams of protein. So purely by swapping out this for this, you can get more food, less calories, and more protein. And the final swap between these two is simply being lazy and buying a pasta sauce from a jar and using passata. Now, don't get me wrong, I love these bad boys, but they're much higher calories than what they're worth when you're on a stricter calorie deficit. Plus, this is just a basic one, and even this per 100 milliliters has 6 grams of sugar. So when you're trying to lose fat, simply cutting these things out will do you a massive favor. And finally, for our post-dinner snack, who doesn't love a granola and yogurt bowl? Now, this is a bit of a side story, but I think if you measure things in cups, you're setting yourself up for failure. And I will demonstrate. Being human, I know that I want to eat as much food as I possibly can while I'm losing fat. So if I'm using cups, I'm going to try and get away with putting as much in there as I can and still counting it as the same unit. But that leaves us with an ability to have a bit of discrepancy. Because like I've done with these two here, one day I might measure out a cup and it be 45 grams. And the next day I might measure out a cup again. And if I get a bit more heavy-handed, it might be 60 grams. But simply because I've not measured how much specifically I've used, we have about a 100 calorie difference between the two of them. If you then put that on top of using a low-fat Greek yogurt and a full-fat Greek yogurt, in total you're looking at a 200 calorie difference. And you might argue that's not too big, but doing things like this repeatedly every day will add up over time. This goes to show that you can eat pretty much the exact same meals but have drastically different outcomes. So if your goal is to lose fat, get very specific around the measurements that you're using and make some of these simple swaps to balance your calories a lot easier and to shred fat fast.